Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
All right, welcome to Beer Nuts number 122. It is the holiday bottle share episode. We're all together in one room. Things get ugly when this happens, but fun and ugly at the same time. I am Chris, and my last Untapped plug-in check-in was the Jubilee from Deschutes.
I remember. And this is Doug. I'm in Clawson. We're all in Clawson.
Yes.
What the heck? So we don't even need to repeat. But this is Doug. My last check-in was, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
And this is Scott. Don't laugh, but my last check-in was Stroh's Perseverance.
I love it. I'm not laughing, I love it. Uncle Pete here. My last check-in was Greenbush Party Wolf IPA. Another surprise beer in my Advent beer case from Greenbush.
JR here. My last Untapped check-in was a Whole Lot of Ruckus IPA, New England IPA from Revision Brewing in Sparks, Nevada. I'd like to thank Dugout and Scott for hosting here in Clawson today.
This is SAK. My last check-in on Untapped was Brandy to the Main Stage by Oddside Ales.
And this is Greg. My last check-in was from Griffin Claw Brewing Company. It was their 2018 Flying Buffalo Barrel-Aged Imperial Stout.
All right, well, Dugout, I believe you get to kick off the festivities here.
All right, so the first beer is not a commercially produced beer. It's actually a homebrew. And it's a collaboration between myself and my friend John Golden. And this is a wee heavy that is Scotch barrel aged. It's aged in Laphroaig soaked oak chips of a medium char. It comes in at about a 9.5%. And I'm a little biased on the flavor, so I'm not going to do much flavor notes other than I enjoy this beer, and I think we both knocked it out of the park on this one. I'll refer to the rest of you guys for the rest of the review.
Oh, I'll be glad to jump in. It's a style that I love. In a previous life, I actually repped Laphroaig, so it's a scotch that I enjoy. And what I really like about the beer, first of all, unbelievable color on it. Nice ruby red, just glowing color. You know, really nailed what a wee heavy should be here. And then the taste is just so well balanced, as you would expect from a wee heavy, a heavy malt presence, not much hops, but what I really think that you've nailed here is neither the liquor hasn't overtaken the beer, and the beer hasn't overtaken the liquor. It's perfectly balanced. The Lagavulin Laphroaig is a very strong, peaty, smoky Scotch, and could easily blow away the beer taste if you overdo it. And I think that you've done great with the level of it supports the beer rather than overtakes the flavor of it. So I'm really enjoying it, and I think you've done quite well. So kudos on a great job, Doug.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, for the ABV that you've got it at, it's super easy drinking, nice sweetness to the front. I almost get like a Belgian-y. I don't know what, maybe I'm in the minority, like a little banana almost, clove type deal. It's really, really good. I mean, fantastic job.
I think Smoke on the Water. Dun, 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 da, da. That might have been a good name for it.
All right. Anybody else, Chris? Comment?
I was just gonna say, I did enjoy the smoky aftertaste on it. It seems to be a theme with you and your home brews, at least that I've tried, but I really enjoyed I liked it.
Yeah, and I've got to echo JR's comments too. I thought the balance of it was good. There's still a nice little hoppy bite at the end of it. But overall, it just nails the style, the wee heavy. It's got that sort of maltiness and that sweetness. You get a little bit of the dark fruit still, but also with the added smokiness and peatiness of the Scotch. But it's not overbearing. It's right there in the mix.
Couldn't agree more. Well, thanks for sharing. I think we're moving over to Chris now.
We're going to have to come back to me. My beer's still outside. I'm setting all this up and...
All right, well, our engineer, so I think that we default next to Greg. So Greg, you can go next.
Yeah, absolutely. So my beer, I picked up via trade from a guy in Wisconsin. It's from Lakefront Brewery out of Milwaukee. This is their Black Friday. I'll let you guys start passing around, and as I describe it here, it's released only on Black Friday. It's a 13.32% Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels. Just a little description here from the website. It combines massive caramel and roasted malts with huge vanilla and oak flavor. Like I said, only available at the brewery until it's gone on Black Friday. So from the pictures I've seen and description, that this is really a sought-after beer in that area, and they really line up to get it. So hope you guys enjoy it. It's my first time trying it, so I've never had it. So hopefully it's really good.
All right, I'll pick up on it.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, thanks for sharing. It's black. I mean, the label says black, and it's a black beer, and it's very aromatic. I get the chocolate in my nose right away. It tastes. You've let it warm nicely. I appreciate that. So it's wide open. It's got a nice sweet flavor, almost a little mapley to me. Lots of chocolate, really nice. It's really good, JR.
Yeah, the number one thing I like about this is the silky mouthfeel. It's just really right smooth and real easy to drink. That's what jumped out at me, but a little bit of sweetness, a little,
you get that vanilla that they're talking about.
Vanilla.
Like a marshmallow type, toasted marshmallow.
Nice, sweet.
Caramel for sure.
Little vanilla, little caramel. Really,
it's really good.
This was kind of
13%. This is just going down super easy.
This was one that was off the radar for me. It's not something I've heard of before, but I'd certainly seek this out again. This is fantastic.
I can't help but agree with JR. This it's the mouthfeel. I mean, it's got a delicious roasty, not overpowering on the barrel, but it's the mouthfeel on this. It's a winner.
So well. This is delicious.
I get a hint of caramel in it.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that kind of toasted marshmallow and the caramel. And you know what, guys? Lakefront has been under the radar for a very, very long time. If I'm not mistaken, these guys are from like the late 80s or early 90s. They go back that far. And we're just kind of, they're a lot bigger now, obviously. But one of those early Milwaukee craft beers that have stood the test of time. And, they were always known for their coffee-infused beers. They were one of the first people to do a coffee-infused beer, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah, it's a real sipper. It's got a great sweetness, a lot of dark fruit in there that's just long-lasting on your palate. Real warmer. Thanks for sharing that one, Greg.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, this is outstanding. I really enjoy this.
I picked a good one then.
You done well.
I think we never complained about any beers really, but
interesting how This very easily could be considered. This very easily could have been considered a whale years ago. I mean, but I'd never heard of it. I'd never had it, and why wouldn't this be as sought after as Bourbon County or any of the other ones? I don't know the answer to that. It's every bit as good.
Now
I
it's
think
on everybody else's radar here, so. Yeah.
But that's a good thing, because if you flip the coin and say, well, I'm not one of those guys that goes and chases the whales, but believe it or not, if, for our listeners, if you go to your local store, I would bet you would be able to find a good beer of a caliber, this kind of caliber. It's just, you don't have to go running for all the big whales that are popular on the internet. You can go find a good beer and really enjoy it. So they're out there. This is a great pick. And, boy, it warmed me up right to the core.
You and me both, absolutely. Yeah. Glad you enjoyed it, everybody.
All right, I think we're moving on to SAK, who's got, I think, one of the OGs here. So I'll turn it over to him.
OG, is that an Oh God, or what is that?
No, like the original, one of the original good beers.
OG means original, okay.
Original
growler.
Original growler.
This is a Hunapoo Stout from Cigar City Brewing in Florida. This is a vintage released on March 14th, 2015. Hunapoo is their Marshall Zukov, their stout, but then it's aged on cacao nibs, ancho and pasilla chiles, cinnamon, and Madagascar vanilla beans. I don't know if this was the original stout that was then flavored with, chiles and chocolate and vanilla, but it certainly has become a very popular variant, very popular style over the last few years. And now a lot of breweries are making excellent examples of this. Actually, everybody seems to be making one, but this is one of the originals. I don't know how it's weathered its test of time, but it's been kept in my cellar, and let's try it out.
Steve, what's a Hunapoo? Anybody know what a Hunapoo is?
I'd have to look up the specifics, but I think Hunapoo was a Mayan god who had got some girl pregnant with I have no idea. There was some pregnancy and two twins, and
He's making this one up.
no, I'm not.
There was beer involved.
It sounds legit.
There was a beer involved. That's what it is.
Sure, it is. It's a Mayan reference, though. I think you got that part right.
Okay, I'm going to let JR's had a taste, so I'm going to pass to him.
Well, I've had this before, and this has held up very well. Wow, it's good. I can taste on the aroma. You can a little bit of cinnamon, not too much. I think there's a little bit of hot pepper that just at the very end, very subtle, not over. Again, the great thing about this beer is it's got so many good flavors, but none of them overpower the other. They figured this out now. It's not sweet. Maybe a tad sweet, but it's roasted malt sweet, not like sugar or adjunct sweet. So the base beer on this has a really full mouthfeel. It's not very carbonated. If there's maybe one thing that the aging has done is it's there's like no head on the one that I poured, but it's always a treat. One of the bottles that I can remember having that was like life changing several years ago when I had my first one, and it's a legend in its own time, and time has been very good to it. It's still very tasty.
Yeah, I agree, and it's letting it set on my palate for a few minutes here. It's got a very earthiness to it, and a very dry chocolate bitterness, and almost, to me, a little tobacco, kind of tobacco-y if I chewed on a nice fresh piece of tobacco. I mean, it's kind of weird to say that about a beer, I guess, but that's what I get. I mean, it's not a stretch, I don't think. If anybody would sit and taste it for a while, you might agree. But, yeah, it's very interesting. It's got a lot of flavors that would take a while to pick them all out. It was very complex.
I'd agree. I've been sitting here the whole time trying to determine what sort of fruit is in it, and because I can taste the chilies, but also you would think there's fruit in here, but I can't quite tell you what kind.
Drink more.
Yeah, it'll come to you. Jog your memory. Just keep doing it. I get an overabundance of chocolate-covered raisin in this. And just like the kind you get at the movie theater type of chocolate-covered raisinets. Yep. I mean, it's almost taken on sort of a wine barrel cask. And that could be with some of the aging on it. But, the nose... God, it's just pure, it's pure dark fruit on the nose.
I think I'm picking up more cinnamon than you guys are.
But now I get the cinnamon on top, but I still get that chocolate-covered raisin that just really, really heavy, almost like a pruin or, but there's definitely that chocolate that factors into it. And I think it's that combo of those Mayan spices that sort of have really blended together over the years of this being aged that have just made for an outstanding beer. And I've had this before, not this vintage, but just never remember it being this fruit forward.
I'm picking up some of that cinnamon. Yeah, a lot of that cinnamon actually. I'm getting the cinnamon and the chocolate.
I've had it before, and I think when you drink it fresher, I think the cinnamon and the chilies take over, and now it's just getting more and more complex. I think all that dark fruit and raisins is an effect from the aging. So it's definitely changed quite a bit since it was first released. But anybody that gets a chance to get a bottle of this, I jump on it. It's good fresh. It's good aged. It's again one of the iconic, one of the original beers. SAK was saying before the show how now like everybody's doing beers like this, but 5 years ago these guys had it nailed in, and now everybody's on the bandwagon. Anybody else?
No, I think we've said everything we could about it. It's fantastic.
Good share, SAK.
Yes, very good.
Yes,
all right.
Thank you.
Well, I guess it's my turn, and I have a beer from Four Hands Brewing Company in St. Louis, Missouri. I'd like to dedicate this one to Dan Geis, Lieutenant Dang, who's often on the Beer Nuts podcast. Obviously, since he's in Missouri, he's unable to be with us today, but he's certainly with us in spirit. And although he didn't mail me this one, I know this is one in his backyard that a variant of, let's just cut to the chase. It's the Four Hands Madagascar Port Double Barrel Madagascar. So, Madagascar is their base vanilla. I think it's a barrel-aged stout, but this is it's a double barrel. I think that means it was aged in a bourbon barrel, then a port barrel. But let's just pour a couple of these. I haven't poured it yet, so I'm going to do that right away. So I just poured mine, and I get that nice light brown head on it, and a nice healthy carbonation. And we opened this bottle a little while ago, so very healthy carbonation level in it. And as a stout, it is pitch black. Really excited because I'm not a big wine fan, but I am a big port wine fan, which I can thank my father for that. He loves port wines, and we've been known to knock back a whole bottle of port on Christmas on occasion with me and my brothers and my family. So let's get right into this. Somebody else want to take it away with the review?
Yeah, I'm not going to be too extensive other than to say just on the aroma, I mean, it's as advertised. This is pure vanilla, and it's so pleasing and nice. I mean, if you opened up, what else is vanilla? Vanilla frosting, vanilla ice cream, all that sweet vanilla goodness. I mean, that's what I get on the nose.
Well, I've just had a chance to take a few swigs of this, and it's vanilla is prominent, but I can taste that port barrel influence. You get a little bit of the prunes, raisins from which is characteristic of a port wine, which from the barrel. But still, I mean, this is, I think, from last year's vintage, so a lot of people are concerned that vanilla beers fade pretty quickly. There's no fading here. There's still plenty of vanilla and a significant port influence, too. Nice, smooth mouthfeel. Really pretty enjoyable beer.
Yeah, I would say this is on the verge of almost over-carbonation. There's quite a bit on the back of your throat when you're drinking this, but what it sort of is flawed in that direction more than makes up for it with the vanilla. And what I mean by that is I feel like I'm sucking on a vanilla bean here. And it's not a fake vanilla. It's not, certain types of vanilla additions can tend to have sort of a cardboard type oxidation to them. But this is true, pure vanilla. And the port is definitely an addition to it. It's not prevalent. I mean, it's there, but it's not taking over the beer. It's balanced. It balances out the rest of the beer, even though it's so vanilla forward, if that makes any sense. I mean,
yeah, it makes perfect sense because I get the same effect on the taste with the vanilla. And then when I give it a chance to sit there for a bit, though, I'm picking up some berries, like a sweet candy berries, like sweet berries, raspberries, red berries, that kind of stuff. So, and then at the end, after even longer than that, I get a little taste of licorice. So, I don't know, maybe my tongue's just going crazy today. We've had a lot of good food already, and, maybe I'm polluted, but I'm finding all that in this beer. It's really nice, and it's subtle with the port and the berries in there.
Yeah, very complex. It's but again, vanilla right up in the forefront, and that's as advertised. So, if the Madagascar vanilla doesn't give you that clue, then just drinking it will.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it milk stout? Is that what that was? Milk stout?
Yes, I like those.
Anyway, it's very sweet. It is a vanilla bomb, and not in a bad way, but it definitely sweet.
Well, be no surprise to our regular listeners that I want to read the label, but it's 9.5% ABV, and it says Madagascar Port Double Barrel is a new take on our Madagascar Imperial Milk Stout. After resting in bourbon barrels, this Madagascar was transferred into freshly dumped Portuguese ruby port barrels and aged with Madagascar vanilla beans. Strong notes of vanilla dominate the aroma, backed up with a complex blend of port, white oak, bourbon, and chocolate. So there you have it.
Beautiful. Can't beat it.
Great beer, and I'm very fortunate to have managed to snag one of these.
Quite a dessert beer, if you ask me. Yes. I mean, this would go great with some flourless chocolate cake or chocolate-covered pretzels or
anything chocolate.
Anything chocolate, or those cookies that are sitting in the dining room over there.
Bring it on.
Shout out to my wife for the cookies, by the way.
Thanks, Shane.
Delicious, yes.
Bring them on.
All right, Uncle Pete, I think you're on deck.
All right, sounds good. We're just firing our way through here. Never had this one. I picked it up in September in California. It's a dark. Let me see here. It's a sour dark ale, aged in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels with currants added and re-fermented in the bottle. So it's soured. It's going to have Brettanomyces and Lactobacillus and Pediococcus and all kinds of Latin name things that we don't know what they look like or anything, but
science.
Yeah, it's all for science. We're doing it for science. But the beer is called Consecration from Russian River Brewing in California. So the label is pretty beat up. I did carry it all that distance back from California in my truck, but you can look it up if you want to read more about it. But let's give it a pour and pass it around. And I'll tell you, I don't know what to expect here other than probably some funk, but hopefully there's more to it than just that. So let's take a look. It poured actually a lighter color than I thought it would, but it does come up with a nice dark copper on the verge of reddish, dark color, bright white head. And I just took a whiff, but I'm going to pass it on and let somebody else take a few words before I go for it, too.
Well, the label strikes me on this one because, I don't know, was it tied to a rope and dragging behind your RV for about 500 miles?
Yeah,
I mean, there is some serious road rash on that label.
Yeah, it was in a box and with a bunch of beers, and it was in a cooler at one time, so it's...
And the other thing is, when I think Russian River, I don't think of tarts or I don't think of sours. Right. But if I were to test this, not knowing it's them, I mean, it's kind of nice. I still have the vanilla overtaking from the previous beer in my glass. So the nose is just kind of a wash at this point. I can't really give a good review on the wash or of the nose of this beer. It's got some great carbonation to it. There's not really much lacing to it, but most sours don't really lace down the glass that way anyways. It's got a beautiful tart funkness to it, and it reminds me of some local stuff we have here from Jolly Pumpkin, actually. It's got that really nice sit in the pocket tartness to it. It's not overly acidic. There's some acidity to it. It's got a drinkability to it. It's not off the chart sour. I mean, if you were just getting started on a sour, this would be kind of a nice beer to cut your teeth on. But God knows, Russian River doesn't make any bad beer, right?
Well, I have to agree. I was kind of cringing when I was like, before the show, I was joking, like, no sours. And, of course, Pete brings one right after we have a big vanilla, and I think there's one more vanilla to come. But you know what? Doug hit the nail on the head when he compared it to Jolly Pumpkin, because it's I was cringing, wondering, oh, no, there's going to be this big, heavy-hitting sour. But first of all, Doug was right when he says there's nothing that I've had from Russian River that I didn't thoroughly enjoy. And secondly, it is not overbearingly sour. It's just, mildly tart and actually delicious. Frankly, as somebody that is very critical of sours and very hesitant to, wade into the sour world, this is one that I would buy a bottle of this. It's so good. I mean, it's, nice fruit, nice little bit of fruity tartness, and just delightful, a little effervescent, nice carbonation level to it. And
isn't Russian River related to another brewer, or are they their own brewer?
Oh, they're their own brewer. They're most widely known for the Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger.
Okay, gotcha.
But thanks for sharing it, and I was kind of cringing and not thinking I would like this, and then I couldn't even do my read the label thing because there is no label left to this. Is about 30% of the label is left, but you know what? Thanks for sharing it.
Fidgeted away with their thumb.
I'm not just blowing smoke up anybody's patootie. This is a beer that I would buy.
Let me add a little bit. When I give it a chance, and that's what I've been trying with all these beers tonight, is it opened up to me, and I actually can taste Cabernet Sauvignon grape. If you took,
fancy,
the beer and the wine and mixed it together, this is what you'd get, and it's kind of a marriage. And I'm with you on the tartness, and there's a slight funk there from the Brett, with some of that horse blanket, that familiar sour horse blanket flavor. But yeah, it's not completely unpleasant, and I'm sorry I made you cringe, JR.
You did until I tasted it. And major, big time grapes in that, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of grape for sure. So
no horse point.
Quite a surprise, I thought. And after we've had all these, very dark, chocolatey, sweet beers, quite a difference on another spectrum.
Well, and it's definitely a palate cleanser in that regard. I mean, we've had all these sweet kind of pastry dessert type, other than the Scotch barrel beer. Everything else has been pretty much on the sweet side and dessert side of things. So it's nice to sort of have this beer to sort of equalize your palate. I mean, I know I had the problem with the vanilla in the glass for the nose of it, but it's all gone now. I mean, that wiped out every slash of any beer that was left in my glass.
It's two ends of the spectrum, these last two. One sweet, one sour.
Yeah.
Your tongue is confused.
Yeah, I don't taste the sweet dark vanilla beers anymore, that we had 3 or 4 in a row. And I get a nice, my mouth waters when I drink this. I drink it, and I'm actually producing a lot of saliva, and it's cleansing. You're right, it cleanses the palate.
Agreed. Well, that was a good segue into our grand finale. So we're going to introduce Scott here, who's going to hit us with the grand finale.
Well, now we're backing up a bit, Uncle Pete.
All right.
I'm presenting a beer by Bottle Logic Brewing in Anaheim. It's Imperial Stout aged with, again, Madagascar vanilla beans and in bourbon barrels. It's a new release, 2018. It's 13.2%. So we'll pass it around and try it.
Scott, say the name. Fundamental Observation.
It's called Fundamental Observation.
Fundamental Observation.
I forgot the name of the beer. Sorry.
That's okay. That's a newbie mistake,
Mistakes tend to happen towards the ends of the episodes.
Yeah. A little blah, 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 blah.
Also known as FO. FO. Fundamental Observation.
You want?
I don't want any.
No, okay, I'll take yours.
You're talking in opposites today.
Yeah, I'm the novice rater here, but I find this smoother than the last vanilla bean, Madagascar vanilla that we had. A little more well balanced, perhaps a little heavier, and just. Normally, I don't really enjoy the bourbon barrel-aged beers, but this one's probably medium in bourbon flavor, and actually tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Scott, on the balance of it. You're definitely getting vanilla, you're definitely getting bourbon, but there's not a one up on the other on this one. It's got a great mouthfeel to it, a great body.
That's what I was going to say. I can put the microphone down now.
You can keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, just take it away.
Now, I was going to say this. I like the balance. I like the mouthfeel. Much thicker, and I think I don't know what the term for it is, but where the flavor kind of lasts longer throughout the swallow. The Madagascar one, I did like it. I liked the flavor, but it was kind of really a heavy hitter right at the end, to me at least. This is pretty consistent throughout the swallow.
Well, and given that our palates were completely cleaned off by the sour, and I still have a little bit of that grit of sour on the back of my teeth, but this is wiping that out rather quickly. But it's got a nice bit of alcohol burn to it, and sometimes that can be a deterrent. But in this case, I think it really adds to the beer itself. It's upfront. It's got that, it has some ABV to it, but it's something that I don't mind at all, especially when it tastes like this, and when it's a complete, front to back, a really beautiful beer.
I agree.
Well, if I may make a fundamental observation.
Whoa!
It's a beer. It's a full-bodied beer, and I usually say it's a beer you can chew, but it's not really a beer you can chew. It's just below that level, but it's at that level where it's full, but it's not so full that it's like syrup or something. It's the flavors are just there and they last, and there's vanilla, there's bourbon, nothing overpowers the other. It's just, as I always like to say, a concert of really good flavors, and geez, I like it.
Yeah, I love it. This is a real winner. It just coats my mouth with a coating of sweetness and sugar. It's very pleasing. I mean, I got to go back for more, right? It's one of those things you're going to get hooked on. You had a taste of the sugar, and that's what it is to me. The vanilla is prominent. It's just a great flavor all around.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, if I were going to hit seconds on anything we've had, and we still have one more to go, but if I were going to hit seconds on anything, it would be that one right there.
Well, this is probably the most hyped beer that we have in the lineup tonight. And all I really have to say is it lives up to the hype, and there's a lot of beers that don't. This one does. So if you have a chance to get a bottle of this, get it. It's lives up to the hype.
Agreed. Well, Christopher, you're usually not the last one.
I still have beer in my glass. I'm engineering and drinking.
Well, fix that problem, will you?
All right, well.
Yes.
Does anybody have any beer news, any hipster tips or stuff before we do our grand finale here? First of all, before we just go into that, let's just wish all our listeners a happy holiday season. Enjoy your time with family, celebrate the holidays, and celebrate responsibly. Get an Uber if you need to, and just have a good time and be responsible. That being said, Chris, are you ready?
You guys can sample my beer. I think I got to cut myself off here. Man who also has to drive home and promised his new wife that he would.
Yes, and actually, a few more orders of business. Congratulating Chris on getting married within the last week or two.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're happy for you, buddy. And also, I'd like to shout out to all the beer nuts that couldn't be with us here in Michigan tonight. Dan Geis in Michigan, Lieutenant Dang, Ross Smith in Durham, North Carolina, who frequently joins us. Eric Gatormson, and who's had one episode from Seattle, or any other remote. Andrea Stevens, who was our sour expert, would have loved that Russian River sour. We know. Yep. She has another commitment and couldn't be here. And just cheer. Let's raise our glasses to beer nuts everywhere and everybody that's ever listened to an episode. So, cheers, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
It's been fun doing these podcasts. We'll continue to do them, and we hope you enjoy listening. And then the only other thing I have to do before I turn it over to Chris is roast him again for not having a win this glass. But we're going to get there. I know we've been saying for a year.
It's deserved.
But it's Christmas time or holiday time, whatever holiday celebration that you observe. Cheers, everybody, and here's Chris.
And actually, Christopher decided to hand this one off, and I think out of pure beer passion, this one needs to go to JR.
Oh, what do we got here?
This is something I picked up clearly based on the feeling of, I'd like to try that. So,
why aren't you trying this?
I will. Eventually. Probably after we stop recording. But I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be happy to. Curmudgeon's better half, man. I had coveted doing this beer for a long time, and Founders released it finally. I actually had tweeted to them many times, bring back Better Half. So they brought back Better Half, and I can certainly say that my wife is my better half, and I'm sure everybody in this room would agree, especially after enjoying her cookies and her Scotch eggs.
The best damn Scotch eggs ever. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But let's just move on to the beer. I know Better Half is Old Curmudgeon, and I love old ales, and that's their old ale. I love Old Curmudgeon, and very sweet. It's just sweet. Everything you smell is sweet.
Is it aged in maple, bourbon maple?
I believe there's maple. I can taste some maple. I can.
This is a beer game show. You win a prize.
It's sweet. It's got that lot of malt, hardly any hops. Maple, not a lot of bourbon, but the bourbon is there. I guess as far as Founders barrel-aged beers goes, this is one of my favorites. I guess if there would be a complaint on it, maybe it's a tad sweet, but it just goes with the style. And you guys know, I guess that's why I got nominated to go first, but it's almost it's too biased for me to even review because it's right up my alley of what I enjoy in a beer. Maple, bourbon, all the great flavors are there, and this is a beer that I wish Founders would release every year.
Well, and I'll follow you up with it here. This is something I would want to drink with my pancakes and sausage for brunch. I just it's got that sort of sweet, sugary maple flavor to it. It does have that tinge of bourbon to it, but it's not overpowering. The maple's not overpowering. The sweetness is a bit cloying, but to keep putting it down. I mean, this one's served at perfect temperature right here too. I believe when Christopher brought it in, it was fairly on the warm side, and I just put a slight chill on it and brought it out, and it sat for a few minutes after. But man, this is perfect cellar temperature for an old ale. And they put a twist on the old ale that adds a lot of sugar into it, so you probably wouldn't want to have this as a session beer and have a whole bunch of them because your head would be wrecked the next day.
Yeah.
But man, the flavor is just off the charts. I think as far as Founders goes, they make some really good barrel-aged things, but this one sort of stands out in my mind, and particularly against, some of the recent releases of the CBS, which is also maple and bourbon, that this, I think, has a little more, a little more roundness to it. It's more true to style than a lot of other bourbon barrel ages where the bourbon sort of takes the center stage, or the maple sort of adds too much sweetness into it. You still get that this is really an old ale,
right? It's great fresh. I mean, we're drinking it fairly fresh here, I'm pretty sure, but it's going to be a great one to store. And I do have a few set aside, so I'm looking forward to letting it do its thing in the bottle over the next year or two, and then try it, down the road. So it's definitely one of those ones that'll age well and still taste good as you go further down the road.
Yeah, this is my absolute favorite from Founders in their barrel aged series. I mean, CBS was good, but I think it was just a little bit bitter for my liking. But and this is, over time, this beer is just going to get better and better. And I'm lucky enough to have a few of the smaller bottles at home, just waiting to be tried. But this is fantastic. You can't beat it. It really is. And I'd love to have it over my own pancakes and sausage. Just pour it right over. That's all I want.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting about this beer is that this is still out in the shelves, and I can think of 5 or 6 other beers that would be considered whales that don't even come close to this. I don't know what, it's just, it's not the flavor of the month right now, but it's still available in my local grocery store. The price is right. It's $12 for a $7.50 bomber. Which is, that's perfect. They're practically giving that away when you compare it to some of the other things we've had here tonight.
I would say it's the flavor of my month because a $7.50 of CBS is double that and has half the flavor. This has much more flavor. It's a greater value. I encourage anybody listening, I'm not bad-mouthing CBS, but I am promoting this over CBS. This has more flavor, more maple, and again, I'm ready to wake up tomorrow and make pancakes.
And as Founders, even their most mass-produced beer, we all know that all-day IPA that you get in every state in the union, it's made well. Founders is well-made beer. It's the first things that I thought of when I tried a Founders, and drank several Founders thereafter. It's a well-made beer. They're not sparing any cost when they make this stuff.
All right. Well, I think we've run the gamut here.
Well, I'd say so. Yeah.
I think we're all feeling a little melancholy. We're in the holiday spirit, and I don't know if it's time to go to Mexico right away, but I think we're really getting close to Mexico City. So, final comments, anyone?
Yeah, I think this was just a real treat, this particular share. Everything was top notch, all good beers, a lot of character in every one of them. We don't do these kind of beers every day just on our own, so it's always good to get together and do the share. So appreciate everybody, appreciate Dugout and Scott for hosting, and always a good time with the Beer Nuts.
Well, yeah, and what's great about this is it's come full circle. When we started out, we were always in the same room, and then quickly realized that was a logistical nightmare, and we would record on a Sunday night, and just bring out all these whales, and
I'll be hungover Monday.
Yeah, hungover Monday. How are you going to get home on Sunday night? Those types of things, and so we went the remote route, which was great because it allowed us to continue the show and keep us all interactive. But when we get together, it's just sort of a little bit of a special bond with all of us, and to see all these beers come out, and wish you guys could see the food spread that was out there. Just outstanding. Everything's been great. And, I always look forward to these sort of holiday get-together episodes where we're all in one place and we got to all look each other in the eye and talk about our passions for these beers.
And we drink the same beer. That's the fun part, too.
Even better. Everybody gets the same thing. Yep.
I would be hard-pressed to actually finish one of these beers by myself. And so, when we do the locations where we're Skyping in, now typically I'm over at John's, so there's a couple people, either John and Uncle Pete, that we can share. But all of these beers were flavor, they were just full of flavor, and like I said, almost too much for me to drink any one of them because they're just so much. They're so big.
I got my doubts that we're going to be able to finish them all.
Yeah. We're going to try
There's nothing going to be dumped out. I guarantee that. You always do the throwback, which one wins. Because we used to do that. We used to have beer of the night and brewery of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of things, and we got smart. We got a lot smarter, and we got better at what we do. But you know what? Nothing beats when we're all able to get together in one room.
Yeah.
And that's what the holidays are about. Friends getting together and enjoying great libations together. And you know what? And that's what keeps us going is being able to have a camaraderie with a group of friends that enjoy good beers. And again, I want to mention, the people that aren't with us today that, live out of market or couldn't make it. But, everybody that's ever been on Beer Nuts is a beer nut. And everybody that's ever listened to a show is a beer nut. And so we appreciate each and every one of you and, raise our glass to you. And let's just, celebrate the season,
Clink, clink, clink.
Clink,
clink, clink, clink, clink.
Colonel Clink.
Prost.
So thanks for listening. Thanks for tweeting.
May Santa Claus.
I'm gonna.
May Santa Claus bring you all the beers you ever wanted.
Amen.
And I'll turn it over to Chris for the final tweet this, tweet that. Promotional stuff. Thank you all for listening.
Oh my goodness.
Bumble.
Oh, I just tried to put my headphones back together and they came apart again, is what it is. Now, just another thing that keeps us going, as John mentioned, is you, listener. If people weren't listening, we wouldn't keep doing this. But I'd have called this a long time ago. Said, no one's listening, guys. It was fun to meet you, and we've gone our separate ways. But people are listening, so thank you for that. We're on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast, on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast. Remember to tag us, show us what you're drinking on both platforms. You can email the show beernutspodcast at christophermedia.net. And on that note, I believe it is time to go to Mexico.
All right. Well, before I go to Mexico, everybody grab a curmudgeon's better half and raise your glass to us. And as they say in old Mexico City, AMF.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more, sir. Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.